Behind curtain number 1 is the 88 Thunderbird. Finally got some kind of cover for it. And that way I can work on it when it rains or snows. As you can see though, I kind of forgot to do it before it snowed, but you know, them's the breaks. So the plan here is to actually just cut out that frame. I have some rectangular tubing on order and I'm going to get that hopefully later this week. It's taking a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but stuff gets in the way. Once I clean all that stuff up on the frame, then I'll have a better idea of what I need to do. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is actually just get these tires and junk out from underneath there, make sure I get a good clean space and try and pull the diff out just so that way I can get way more room and better access. I'm also going to reposition the jack stands. Right now they're kind of on the back bumper, not bumper, but you know, rear part of the frame that where the bumper attaches. I'm going to try and move it to where the tires are just so that way it gets better support and I can get kind of a free floating rear end and try to make things easier. All right, so I got everything cleaned up under here. I did keep these jack stands there just as a precaution, but really this stack of 2x4s here is what's holding the weight. But man, when I was lowering this, a lot of this started making crunchy noises and it was freaking me out a little bit, but that's kind of how you got to do it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work from the back forward and then keep going all the way to the front, just make sure everything is okay. I also went ahead and removed the rear bumper, so the cover and then the actual like bumper or fiberglass bumper that's there. The only thing is I find that every time I remove something or touch something, I get kind of little blowouts, these little spots here where there's just a bunch of rust and metal that's kind of disappearing. I think these guys pop out, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to take a look at that. Just to show you how soft stuff is, I tried to use this as a lift point just to make some adjustments, and then it just immediately caved in. See how that one is still pretty straight, but there's a lot of little issues. So this is that part that I tried to use as a lift point. I didn't really know that it was so badly rusted. It didn't show at first. Obviously, I got into it and then it just kind of basically exploded. But this is just the anchor point for the gas tank, which is easy to replicate or at least fix. Here's the other side. That hole there, I used to have a plug and it was sealed, but it's now rusted out. This is kind of where the spare tire was. There's a lot of rust and stuff, but I don't know if that's just like junk from everything else rusting and it fell in there or what. Not as bad on this side. Still some stuff down there, but not too bad. But other than my tools and the stuff that I brought in there, this trunk's pretty empty. I removed everything all the way up to about the back seat. I am going to have to remove the shock tower, not the shock tower, but the actual struts. That's the top of them there. There is an electronically controlled device on there because it's gas filled, and then they readjust depending on the style of driving. So I think it just stiffens. Haven't experienced it, so I couldn't tell you for sure. But it's this guy here that I have to remove. Haven't done that yet. Still got a little bit of stuff I need to kind of clean up just to make my job easier. Like example, removing that. Here, let me show you. So I've shown this a few times. This is the torque box that is completely rusted out, but I was looking at kind of where the frame rail went and like what was around it, and I'm going to have to remove the back seat because it's pretty much in this general area. If I'm going to cut and weld, I don't want anything to happen there. The other thing that I want to try and do is, because these frame rails are U-shaped, they're all processed or pressed in a machine and made that way to fit into the curves and shapes that they want. But what I'd like to try and do is keep this edge up here, but cut in the corner here, and that'll still give me all my lines that I need to place all the new stuff. I'm actually going to go with, it's probably going to be a slightly smaller frame rail because it's all I can get, but not by much, but it'll be probably twice as thick as what's in here, about 1/8 of an inch or something like that. Little things I noticed are like this piece here. I don't want to cut this because it's part of this anchor point, and I'm going to need all the anchor points as much as I can to make sure that I put this new torque box in its, original position, or at least a position that doesn't affect the rotation or movement of the rear differential. But while I was in here, I don't know if you can see it. It looks like you can. But I noticed this thing is rusted out, so I'm going to have to do something about these arms later on too. That crack there is open to the rubber bushing that's on the inside. All right, let me sort a couple things out. Let me get started. I have to empty the rear of the passenger compartment, the rear seats basically, and try and take a look at that. And then I'm going to try and take the strut out. Well, I just went ahead and removed the passenger front seat. Got that out. Wasn't too bad. Obviously just 4 bolts and it popped out. Stuff was rusted, but it actually moved. I didn't even have to use the impact on those ones. Now I'm doing the ones right on the front seat, and as you can see right there, I had to grind that one out. Hopefully I did it enough, but I didn't want to stick around too long because, the carpet's right there. The other one came out no problem. Now this is an electric seat, so I kind of have to put in the battery. So I'm going to jump to that now, and hopefully I can move it up enough to at least get the bolts out. All right, just pop the battery in. I am just about to plug it in. See what happens. I'm not going to turn it over or anything, so I don't really care. Just as long as there's enough contact to put power to the seats. There was a little bit of a sparkly sound, but let's go inside and see what happens. Oh, cool. So far so good. I don't smell anything burning, so that's obviously a good sign. Dome light! Woo! Party in here! So that's a good sign. Let me see if it works now. I don't know. Seat. Oh, what just happened? I don't know if that just turned off or I blew a fuse or something. Let me put the key in the ignition. I think I blew a fuse. Ugh. That's not fun. All right, I gotta play with that. Nothing is working. Well, it turns out it was just the contact, so let me try that again. It might have... Oh. Not sure if you can hear that, but there's definitely something pumping. I just want to... Oh, no. Oh. Okay, well, the... Oops, sorry, the light was bad there. The tilt is working. Whoa. Actually, maybe see if we can lift this up as high as I can. Whoa. There's a funny noise. But it won't move forward. I think. What the heck is that? Isn't that wild? It doesn't sound good. I think that's the door charm. Is that possible? Let me see. That is a weird noise. Holy cow, it's hard to get in here. That was the door charm. That's too funny. Oh. Ooh, scared myself. Had a hard time opening the door there. That's too funny. Okay, I gotta kind of take a look at the seat and see what I can do. All right, finally picked up the steel for the frame on the Thunderbird. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick, so it's roughly double the thickness of the original. The only thing is it's a 1/2 inch shorter on both sides, so 3 inches by 2 inches. when it should be 3.5 by 2.5. I'm still going to use it, mostly because, I mean, the strength is still there, and then it ties into the unibody, which is fine. So it should work just fine. So I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm just going to use this. Well, time waits for no one. It's been a few days since I last worked on it, but I'm going to try and access these points, like the bolts for the driver's seat, from wherever I can. I'm hoping I can get a wrench in there and pull that out. They look accessible, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get much torque on them to be able to pull them out. It would be nice to get the seats out to, make my life easier, pull the carpet out and all that stuff. I did finally get the back out. There's a huge mouse nest that was there, and some computers back here too. One is for the ride suspension, and then the other is for the ABS system. Those things look like they weigh 20 pounds. But yeah, I want to try and remove the carpet out of this area too, all the matting and sound deadening and stuff. Might go ahead and remove some of the plastic. Well, as you can see, I got one of the rear ones out. Still working on the second one. I just had a short enough or less tall breaker bar. Basically, its head was shorter than the ratchet, and I was actually able to loosen it. I think spraying it with some PB Blaster helped a bit, just at least to get it loose enough that I didn't have to force on it too much to get it out. But it fit better under there, making it easier for me to actually get it undone. And I'm going to try and continue on the other side. I sprayed some PB Blaster. Well, I'd like to actually show you, but it's kind of tight in there. I'm just going to try it and see what happens. All right, honestly, kind of surprised. I got it out. That's the nut right there. It's the kind of situation where you want to get comfortable, set up your chair, get your favorite drink, somebody to talk to, settle in for 15 minutes or whatever it is. Again, I don't know if the PB Blaster helped, but it certainly worked in trying to get it loose. Once it got to the point where I could move it with my finger, then it got even easier. So thank goodness for that. But as you can see, she's out. Now I just got to disconnect a couple wires and then pull it out. Finally, she is out. Looks good. Still got some other stuff to do, but honestly, pretty happy with where this is at right now. I'm going to try and work on the rear suspension. Well, I noticed that the bushings on the door are kind of finished. So that's another thing I got to do and add to the purchase list. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought. So right on top is the electronics for the adjustable ride control. There's just two little clips that you hold on to and then pull up, and that popped it out. Oh, there's the bushing. And then on top is just this little clamp to hold that electronics thing, and then just undo the nut that was there. I did it on both sides, and the suspension kind of just fell through. No problemo. So that was a lot easier than I was expecting. I was figuring I might need some vice grips and things to prevent it from spinning, but it didn't. It just came right off. And voila, and there it is. Nice and easy. Well, didn't think I had it, but I have a T50 that torques. I'm trying to get the seatbelt straps off and stuff, and hopefully that'll help me get the carpet out. So let me get on that. I got the impact, obviously, just to make my life easier. All right, got those out. Not too bad. Got the drivers and the passengers in the front also, just to make removing the carpet easier. But with the impact, highly recommended. Made it super simple. Well, I was going to go ahead and pull the carpet, but honestly, I have to remove a good chunk of the dash to get back there. At least I think. I don't know if it's split here, and then I can pull it off the side. I'll just take a quick look, but I am not ready to disassemble all this stuff. I took this front panel just to see what was going on, but that's it. But while I was here, I noticed a couple of things. I don't know if the lever or the glove box and completely is different, but that's red there. And then you can see some red in here. So I don't believe that's the original one. Not a big deal though. I also noticed this weird switch here, but I think that went to the sound system. So I'm going to try and pull that off too at some point, especially because I want to get rid of this wire. I don't really have a use for it. But I think what I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to pull the carpet and then kind of bring it forward just to get that out of the way. Take a look at the floor pans here and stuff like that. I know that I'm going to have to weld within this section here, so removing all this stuff would be a good idea. Well, my idea isn't going to work because the other side's still screwed in and I can't get the screws out, but I'll just give you a general idea of what it's like on this side. You can clearly see that that has been bent up, mostly from me trying to find some jack points and stuff like that. The rocker panel is not that great of a shape, and neither is the floor. You can see right here that it's pretty much gone through. It's all rusted, just, I guess, water accumulating, things like that, carpet. The seats look okay. I don't think that they are moved or pushed up or super rusty, so that's always a good sign. But yeah, that trim is still stuck in there, and I want to try and get it off and keep it whole, but the screws are pretty bad. I think that's pretty much where I am going to end it off. I got everything in the back done. Hopefully I'll start cutting next week and sorting out all that stuff and see what happens with that. Oh wait, hang on, found a solution. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not always the best in organization. I forgot I had this manual impact driver, so I just popped on a Phillips and then got the trim piece that was holding the carpet in, and now I should be able to do a better job on the carpet, but I still got to deal with that. Well, as you can see behind me, got a pretty big mess that I need to clean up. Unfortunately, this really isn't the video that I wanted to make. I was hoping to get a little bit more into the frame and some cutting, but them's the breaks. Unfortunately, time, like I said before, time waits for no one, and it unfortunately got away from me. However, we did do a good chunk of stuff in the interior to try and pull away some of the accessories and at least get the seats out. The front driver's side seat was the worst. But I honestly managed to get it out, kind of surprised. Got the carpet pulled out of the way and made sure that I can get access to there. Nothing's going to catch on fire, hopefully. Although I probably do need to strip away the rubber coating that's on there for sound deadening, I guess, and then go from there. As for the rear, well, it's pretty much ready to go. I just maybe got to put some wires and stuff away just so that way they don't get in the way. But other than that, I'm going to start cutting into it hopefully next week. As you saw, I got the steel, so hopefully maybe I can just make a mock-up. But again, we'll see. I'm trying to spend a little bit more time on it next week. I don't really have any major plans, but you never know, stuff happens. But look guys, on that note, thanks for watching and take it easy.